She's back. It is now 6 o'clock, and we are going to get started with the program for the evening. So I'm going to kindly ask everybody to be seated, or at least be quieter, because we're on a timetable. I don't know if you know this, there is a performance tonight, and many of you are performing in said performance, so we really have to keep this night moving. I'm going to be real careful to not pop my peas here. Sorry about that. Thanks, Dee. Good evening to all of you dancers and dance enthusiasts. My name is Colleen Lindstrom. People who live in the Twin Cities, oh, well, thank you. Those of you who live in the Twin Cities might recognize my voice because I hosted a radio show in the Twin Cities from noon to 3 for about 10 years. I've worked in radio for 20 years. I'm now a has-been. I left that job in December, but I would saw my arm off for Michelle. So when she asked me to do this, I said, I have the skill, I can do this. On campus and in the dance department, I am actually known as the dancer who broke her nose on stage. In 1999, right on stage. If you haven't heard the story, find me later. I'm happy to tell it. So I'll be guiding you through this evening, and we do have a wonderful evening planned, including wonderful ways to honor this unique group in this room that spans decades of dance, and also to celebrate the career of our wonderful leader, Michelle. While we reconnect with people and bodies that we shared space with over our time here on the Hill. Now, I do want to draw your attention. You've got Kleenex on your table, because we know things. So in these little tiny packages, just open them up right now, pass them around, because if you don't cry, I'm going to check for your soul later, and I take that very seriously. I also want to give a huge thank you to a wonderful group of people who helped make this happen. Michelle, of course, had a vision, and Betsy Maloney-Leaf, Carolina Satek, Shauna Solzvig, Christy Barowi, and name countless other people who I cannot even list their names, but did a lot of work to make this day happen. So thank you to all of you. So I'm going to invite you to just continue to enjoy your meals as we move through this dinner program. And I want to begin with gratitude. Gratitude for what has been and for what will be with this community. And gratitude for our wonderful leaders who grew and shaped us. I am not going to be able to get through this without crying, and Michelle is looking right at me. So I just want you to know that's what's happening here. These wonderful leaders who grew and shaped us all as movers, but more importantly as people. In this room, we have dancers of all stripes. Some have continued with the craft. Some have moved on to do other things. We have performers, we have teachers, we have actors, we have teachers. I already said that, but we do. We have so many teachers. We have professors, we have doctors, we have veterinarians, we have vice presidents, we have parents, and we have everything in between. But we all share this common experience of dancing on the Hill and studying and moving with some of these wonderful instructors who are with us today, and some of us who are with us in spirit. Michelle has expressed to me that she finds a lot of comfort and inspiration in the blessings written by Meta Herrick Carlson. Meta is a pastor in Minneapolis, and she's a gifted author of 2 books, and more on the way, but you didn't hear that here. Ordinary Blessings and Ordinary Blessings for Parents. And Meta has a beautiful way of entering into the daily stuff of life and blessing the ceremony of it all. Meta also happens to be a dear friend of mine, and so I asked her to write a blessing that draws us together in this space today. And you're all going to get the opportunity to take this blessing home with you, but we managed to keep it undercover. So Michelle is hearing this for the first time right here. And I'm just going to tell you, I have not read it once without crying, so get ready. I told you about those Kleenex. But this blessing for what once was, for what has been, and for what will be. We are still dancing. I'm already crying. Once upon a time, dance was banned. So a kick in the ass and a kiss on the cheek had nothing to do with bodies circled around, singing stories worth telling on stage. But surely they danced, in the quarter moonlight and behind closed doors in nooks and hallways after finals were graded. Every shadow a sanctuary for music and movement. Whispers of wholeness coming. They danced until every body and breath remembered a rhythm, more primal than pious. Sensations sending students and movements into daylight, from the dive to Kresge and home to themselves. And so a company bloomed with matching tights and a bright stage to center this holy incarnation, gasping and sweating ablaze with good news for the glory of every body, affirmed and whole and free. And the dance still lives in every system and cell, humming and pumping through muscles that know the secret to work as play, how to spot while spinning, and to breathe like it is death and resurrection every time. And we danced our way here to pay homage and to say merde, to delight in our forms and all the ways they were formed by the guidance of one and the power that lives in a company of kinship and kicks and kisses, a circle that celebrates without end. At this time, I would like to welcome two wonderful faculty members to the stage to share some remarks with you on this very special evening. Melissa and Sarah, if you would like to join us up here. And feel free to dry tears, do whatever you need to do.
Now I'm going to lose it. So I just want to say before I read my thing that today I watched 2 dance classes with, 50 people in each class. And it was just phenomenal to watch people who are dancing still, who have danced, who haven't danced in 20 years or whatever. Everybody was moving so beautifully and embodied in such a way that just brought tears to my eyes. And so that's a testament to, again, all the work that's been done here on the Hill. Okay. Today we celebrate the 70 years of dance history at Gustavus Adolphus College, as well as Michelle Rasinko's influence on the trajectory of that history for the last 34 years. Michelle taught and directed the dance program throughout that time, created the dance major, and chaired the Department of Theater and Dance for a significant portion of her tenure. Michelle formally retired in the spring of 22, but holds the title Professor of Research, which means that she can continue doing the creative and pedagogical work she excels at and loves to do with institutional recognition and support. During her time at Gustavus, her visionary and strategic thinking led her to develop a strong and nationally recognized dance program. Always stretching choreographically with new images, concepts, and ideas, her dances, in whatever form, always reflect deep insights into the greater human story and that which connects us all. Michelle has always been multidimensional, from scientist to dancer, choreographer, and somatic practitioner, to yoga teacher, certified positive psychology life coach, storyteller, and outstanding educator. Her intellectual curiosity, emotional vulnerability, and embodied sense of wonder have informed how she sees and understands the world. She has shared that curiosity, propelling others throughout the years to explore themselves, to discover their passions, and literally move toward them. Michelle is a communicator extraordinaire. Her connections to former students are forever connections. She is loved by so many, both near and far, as demonstrated by the wellspring of all the Gusties gathered to honor her and her legacy today. Michelle, you are loved, and we are here for you.
Hi, I'm Sarah House, and I first met Michelle in 1993, I believe. I got a dancer pool grant from the Minnesota Dance Alliance, June, wherever you are, and I was putting on a little show, and the Gustavus Dance Company, which was then called, as most of you know, the Matching Tights Dance Company, was performing in Studio 6A in Hennepin Center for the Arts in downtown Minneapolis. Somehow, as we spoke, I had a premonition that she would invite me down to teach and or choreograph at Gustavus. No sooner had I had the thought than she did, in fact, invite me to come down. This was the first of many moments in my relationship with Michelle that I would feel a deep connection, like our thoughts would sometimes merge. And I'm willing to bet that many of you have had similar feelings of connection with her. It's magical. Over many years, I was lucky enough to dip in and out as a teacher, performer, and choreographer. Am I doing this okay? It's like, you can hear me though, okay. I was lucky enough to dip in and out as a teacher, performer, and choreographer in the department until the fall of 2011, when I gratefully settled in. By then, I had worked in enough different situations to realize what a fulfilling honor it is to work in such a supportive climate with tremendous colleagues and inspiring students. And I'm still regularly astonished that those incredible students just keep coming year after year after year. Last year, when Michelle started talking about chronicling the history of dance at Gustavus, I found myself wondering about her personal dance history. How did she become a dancer, a choreographer, an educator? So I sent her a written prompt and invited her to respond. I'm sure that many of you already know that the result was a beautifully written personal remembrance of discovery, focused commitment, passion, and brilliance. I don't have time tonight to read it all, but I do want to share some excerpts that stayed with me after reading it. I do hope that we will find a way to share this in its entirety with all of you someday soon. Here are some of her words. I was always a monkey child, climbing over furniture and up into trees. Organized sports were far and few in the 1950s and early 60s, especially for girls. Fortunately, I grew up in a neighborhood with lots of kids, and we played outside from early morning until nightfall. Fast forward a little bit. It was during those high school years when I was studying at the Ballet Center, the musical A Chorus Line opened up on Broadway. The first time I heard the song At the Ballet, it took my breath away. While my circumstances were different, the sentiment, up the straight, narrow staircase, captured so much of what I felt. I have often somewhat jokingly said my childhood home was crisis central. My mom was an emergency room nurse, and my dad was a police detective. My dad was an alcoholic, and when the stress of work became too much, he drank. But everything was beautiful at the ballet. At home, my mom talked about the horrific situations which brought people to the ER, and my dad processed what he referred to as man's inhumanity to man. But everything was beautiful at the ballet. Fast forward to graduate school. Michelle has committed to dance after being a teacher in biology, right? I can honestly say my 3 years in graduate school were glorious. For the first time in my life, I felt I was living the life I was meant to live and not trying to fulfill the hopes and dreams of others. I loved that dance was now my priority and not something I did on the side. I thrived. During my final year in graduate school, my solo, Seed for Planting, homage to Kathy Kolwitz, was selected to represent Arizona State University at the American College Dance Festival Association. It was called American College Dance Festival back then. The regional festival was in Beaumont, Texas, and the solo was selected for the gala. The solo was then selected for inclusion in the national festival, which was at Kennedy Center. And this year, we have a solo on one of our students going to the national gala as well, choreographed by Jill Patterson. Fast forward to having taught in Utah and deciding to come interview at Gustavus. I interviewed for the job at Gustavus on April 13th, 1988. I only remember this because it happened to be my birthday. It was also close to 90 degrees, and I sweat through the peach-colored suit I had worn to the interview. In 1988, we, Bob and Michelle, packed up slightly more than would fit in a Honda and made the move to St. Peter, Minnesota, closing the Utah chapter in my life. Returning to Minnesota and settling in at Gustavus felt like coming home to me. It was perhaps a bit more like landing on Mars for my husband. This last excerpt that I will share from her writing sums up so much of what we all know about dancing here in the theater and dance department. Recently, I learned the word querencia, which means a place where one feels safe. It is the place where your strengths shine and you feel most your authentic self. Michelle, thank you for creating a beautiful and safe space for all of us to cultivate and revel in our shared passion. You have helped so many of us learn to let our strengths shine and to feel, connect, and understand our most authentic selves.
Thank you both. That was beautiful. Cue the tears again. Here we are. I know that many of you have had some time to look at the timeline that is over in the theater area. And if you haven't seen it yet, do make sure that you make a stop there to see that this evening. But you'll also notice that there's a number of faculty that can't be with us here tonight. But we do want to honor the work that they have done with the department. So this is, all of you toasters, this is called, when we do this on the radio, it's called on-air production. Everybody who's toasting, I would like for the live toasters to start organizing yourselves over here as I continue to introduce what we're about to do next. You know who you are. If you're not a toaster, you don't know what we're talking about. We want to honor the work that the faculty members have all done in this department. So we've invited some former students who worked with some of these key instructors to do short toasts in honor of these faculty members. So I have some instruction for everybody. You all have a part in this because, as you know, in a toast, you have a beverage, right? And you can, of your choice, whatever you want to toast with. During the toast, there will be a call and response. So the person who's doing the toast will say to so-and-so, and we will all say to so-and-so. Raise your glass and have a sip. So we're all involved in this. We are all toasting together. But these wonderful alumna are going to have the words to toast. So now we call these 2-minute toasts because everybody has been instructed to keep it to 2 minutes because we got to keep this thing going. So there's a few on video of people who were not able to be here, and then there are some live. And so with no further ado, get ready to toast these wonderful faculty members.
Hi everyone, my name is Renee Guitar, and I graduated from Gustavus in 2012 with a dance major. I'm so honored to be with you all today virtually to celebrate Gustavus Dance. My toast today is to the one and only Ashley Penrod. Ashley was a professor at Gustavus in 2010 and 2011, which was my junior year. I was in her science and somatic movement class and also in a piece of hers for the spring dance concert. Ashley always has been a creative force. She currently runs her own business and consulting organizations and nonprofits to accelerate their efforts in sustainability. And she's also dancing, which is great. One of my favorite memories of Ashley is when we started working on her dance for the spring dance concert. She asked us to write down our dreams before rehearsal. We used the text from the dreams to create phrase work for the piece. And Rush and I still to this day quote the beginning text that we used, which was, "Baby in the basement, taps me on the head 3 times." I loved her rehearsals, how she ran the room, and how she shaped the choreography. She led with kindness, humor, understanding, and intelligence, and really showed me an example of a strong female leader in the dance world. I also think of the things she said in 2011 all the time. One thing she told me is a great way to warm up when you're feeling a little overwhelmed or not sure what to do before a show is to just do the movement you're going to perform smaller. So I still do that to this day. It helps me get focused, and I think of her when I do it. It is amazing and such a gift to look back and celebrate our professors, and it's my pleasure to honor Ashley Penrod and her dance legacy at Gustavus. Cheers.
Sarah,
Hi, Sarah.
you were my first modern dance teacher ever. And as someone who was transitioning from ballet, something that was so important is how you made modern dance less intimidating for me and it was more attainable. Like your lessons in pelvic power really helped ground me and helped me learn to connect with both my body and the earth, which was totally new for me at the time.
And building off what Kate said, as a professor, your use of shapes and geometry helped me break down modern dance technique into something that I could digest. Kate and I both had the amazing opportunity to be in part of your several pieces at our time at Gustavus.
And as we were reflecting on those experiences with you, something that really stood out to both of us is how inclusive your creative process was, and that we both felt like our point of view was important and received, which was, not only an important lesson for us as a dancer, but really in life. And it's something that continues to stick with us today.
Now, as a dance teacher myself, I've looked back at your teaching style and the structure of your lessons, and it's invaluable. I've modeled my own teaching style from you, and I've used almost all of your fun modern dance exercises with my students, and our favorite is the negative space. So we are here to say thank you for your openness and vulnerability.
And for the lessons that you've shared with us, and really the time that you took to invest in us. We are forever grateful.
So we are toasting you from afar.
Cheers, Sarah.
Good evening. I am honored to say a few words about our beloved Betsy Maloney Leaf. My name is Hillary White. I was a dance major and company member graduating in 2004. I feel so fortunate that I was a student during Betsy's tenure at Gustavus. It was always a gift to be included in Betsy's dreamy choreography. It meant not only being a part of the movement she created, it also meant rehearsal time. Betsy's rehearsals and classes were a safe bubble of energy, creativity, learning, and just joy. It is both her artistry and her humanity that make her such an asset to any group. Betsy was not only my choreographer, teacher, and mentor, I also served as her teaching assistant for both beginning ballet and beginning modern. There, I got to see her in her natural element as a skilled teacher, technician, and as a passionate dancer. She pulled in people to newly discover their own love of dance. Also in those beginning level courses, it never got old to witness the startle and awe on the faces of the many football players there fulfilling their fine arts credit as they perceived the sheer power and confidence of this petite woman. Those are some loud footsteps from such a tiny package. Betsy may be small in stature, but her lasting impact on Gustavus dance and countless individuals is anything but. Betsy, Gustavus, is privileged to have you as part of its legacy, as an alum, a professor, and an artist. The value of your many contributions are an enduring credit to the strength of the Gustavus Dance Program today. We celebrate and thank you. To Betsy.
Jeffrey Peterson, what a firecracker. I miss you. I miss being around you. I miss taking your classes. I miss performing in your work. I had so much fun with you and your process and your spunkiness. And you really created an environment in your classes and rehearsals where everyone could laugh and work really, really hard at the same time. You'd make these goofy quips for different phrases. Krakatoa, I think was one of them, if I have that right. The deep does. And then there was the Jeffrey, which was this glute massage technique that you created where you would sit on the floor, adjust on that muscle, and move the rest of your body to like get a massage against the floor with your glute. And the thing you said was, you can't look somebody in the eye when you're doing this because it just gets too weird. I so appreciated that you weren't afraid to get silly, and not only in class, but in your choreography. And at the same time, you were super clear and direct, and your work was rigorous and super technical, and you put out this beautiful, bold messaging in your work that inspired me and others to be courageous, not just in dance, but in my life, to be my bold, true self out in the world. And what a gift to have that as an example at that time of life. So Jeffrey, your unique combination of silly, rigorous, and boldly authentic was truly an inspiration and a joy to work with. To Jeffrey.
Hello? Okay. Okay, here we go. When I did this in my head, Melissa wasn't 3 feet in front of me. So we're gonna see how I hold this together. Good evening. My name is Jordan Klitsky, class of 2010, and I would like to make a toast to Melissa Rolnick. And I would like to make a toast to Melissa Rolnick, who's been on faculty here since 2007, my sophomore year. As many of you know, I arrived at Gustavus as more of a theater kid who dabbled in dance, so much so that I took only one official class with Melissa, but as with so many students, she grew to be a central figure in my life at Gustavus and beyond through her beautiful ability to form lasting connections, through such attentiveness, humbleness, thoughtfulness, and amazing vulnerability. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to acknowledge that today. Preparing for this toast, I let my mind wander back to my first memories of Melissa, and 3 images came to mind. First, the upright Melissa walking around the studio with the presence of someone 7 feet tall, using live drums with odd meters, 7'8", 6'4", I don't know, and creating foreign shapes to me with those long sweeping limbs. Honestly, I think a lot of people use the word terrifying during the first year. Second image, Melissa lying on the stage underneath a large swath of fabric during her first performance at Gustavus. Surprisingly emotive and captivating under the sheet, and also deeply confusing to most of our suburban parents. Third, and maybe most importantly, Melissa sitting on her blue therapy ball in her windowless closet, office, at the bottom of the stairs where we chatted about my first experiences of dancing and creating in life after college. And while the dancing has come and gone for both of us over the years, our enriching conversations have never stopped. I think the mentorship comes naturally for her because she never stops engaging with the deep questions about her own beliefs, relationships, and connections to movement. And I'm personally so grateful for her vulnerability and insight during countless conversations about things like living far away from family, dealing with chronic injuries, questioning the ethics of dance and teaching, and marveling at the complexity of love, just to name a few. I'm sure nothing could have truly prepared her coastal soul for the rural Midwest adventure that awaited her. But I'm so grateful for what she's given to me and so many others over these past 16 years. So let's raise a toast to Melissa. Here's to Melissa.
I'm here to toast Jill Heberlin. I'm Jen Gallus. I'm a 1997 graduate. I was introduced to the dance program in my first semester in beginning ballet with Michelle. Unfortunately, due to my science lab schedule, I didn't become a member of the Matching Tights Dance Company until my sophomore year. After dancing my whole life, I was in awe of the dance professors at Gustavus. I grew up in the do as I say, not as I do school of dance. No compassion, no partnership, no progress, with the goal to make me a better person and a better dancer. When I first met Jill, my sophomore year, I was struck. I had no idea there were adults who didn't want to tell me what to do. She asked me what I wanted to do, all the while with an amazing, huge smile and eyes that always sparkled. I never felt less than with Jill. I felt seen and understood and supported. In fact, my junior year, when I had a minor misunderstanding with the cops about the legality of being in a bar at 20, my ID said otherwise, just want you to know that. She's the first adult I told, because I didn't fear judgment, criticism, or critique. And what I got was support and understanding, because that was Jill. What I received from Jill on paper was a dance education, but it was so much more. In my transition from childhood to adulthood, she was there for me. She taught me to believe in myself, even though through the bad times, trust me, the minor story is just the tip of the barrel, in the good. And now whenever I picture Jill, all I see is that amazing Kentucky smile and the best sparkling eyes, and a non-conditional love I have never experienced since. So to Grace and Griffin, her children, your pain is deep, but I hope the knowledge that your mom has had such an impact on people you may never know brings you comfort. Fly free, Kentucky bird, we miss you and we love you. Here's to Jill.
We are here to toast Maria Tierney. And although Lynn and I never danced here at Gustavus together, we both met Maria here.
Just missing Jill. When we found out we were toasting Maria, we knew we had to move. And so this movement is from a piece that we got to do together as part of Maria's company in 2013 with the Gomez Dance Group.
Maria Tierney is one of the reasons why I even have a dance career.
Maria helped me fall back in love with dance. Maria makes dances that are deeply feeling and relational and a joy to be a part of.
Maria gave me some sage advice when I was hesitant about taking on my very first teaching gig. And she said that teaching dance is the best way to learn how to dance.
Maria shows us how to hold a clear voice while being curious and collaborative.
Maria teaches us how to be better humans by becoming better artists and turning big, bulky football players into slightly less bulky professional artists and highly emotional, intelligent dads.
Maria sees the potential in everyone. She knows how to help us see and feel and dance and live into our best selves. We love you, Maria, along with the many people you have inspired and nurtured.
We will be forever grateful. Here's to
Maria.
Maria.
My name is Michaela. I graduated in 2016.
And I'm Allie Rederath, and I graduated in 2018. So I met Katie Becker when she came to Gustavus to teach during my first year. Katie choreographed a piece for the spring dance concert titled Show Up, and she talked with us about the importance of showing up not just physically, but mentally and emotionally. And it's funny to think back now because that is the epitome of Katie. She's always showing up for everybody.
I was also in Show Up, and I was Katie's TA for Beginning Modern. And something I remember about that class is that it was huge because so many people wanted to take it, and she wanted to let them all in. And that class always has, and that one was no exception, a very wide range of experience levels. And Katie was able to make everyone feel welcome and valuable.
Our next encounter with Katie was Michelle's 2016 Fringe show titled Gray Wolves. And that could have been a very intimidating experience because it was our first time performing as fellow performers with Katie. But it ended up being one of the most amazing performance experiences of my life. And Katie welcomed us with open arms, and that really started our transition from student and teacher to friend.
And over the past few years, we've continued to work together in a little quartet of myself, Allie, Katie, and Sarah House that we've nicknamed the Boop Collective. And we've become close friends and collaborators throughout the process.
Katie is a perfect model of how to walk through the world. Anybody who meets Katie for more than 2 seconds knows that she's affirming, welcoming, and very, very genuine.
But if you get to spend as much time with Katie as we have, you'll find out that she is all of those things, but she's also honest, gives great advice, and always shows up. We are so grateful that Gustavus brought us together and that we have the pleasure of continuing to be a part of your life. To Katie.
All right, a little tall. Thank you. Okay, my name is Libby Saunders. I graduated in 2018. So taking class from Jill Patterson is a joy. Her movement is dynamic, athletic, and somehow feels natural to every student. Jill is funny, supportive, and gracious. She is thought-provoking, often giving her students food for thought and asking, "Is this true, dancers?" Jill encourages individuality in the classroom while maintaining a spirit of unity and growth. During my time as a student, Jill taught me many things: how to drop my weight in a deep plie, how to broaden my emotional depth in a performance, but more importantly, she taught me how to let go of rigidity and practice strength through ease. She taught me how to collaborate with and appreciate my own moving body instead of fighting against any perceived limitations. And she taught me that I can be many things at once. Jill believes that life is not but, life is not or, life is and, a phrase that has impacted many of us far beyond our time at the Hill. Jill, thank you for building my confidence, making me bolder, and helping to reignite my love for dance. The Gustavus community is lucky to have you. To Jill.
Hello, my name is June Wilson, and I'm a 1989 graduate, and Beth Siebert was my professor. When I arrived, she was just a ballet teacher, but then by my second year, she was the primary dance teacher. And Beth embodied sensuality. She embodied this presence that she knew that each of us could carry in us no matter what we did. And when I told my parents I wanted to do dance, they were like, we are not paying for you to go to Gustavus to do dance. Thankfully then, Gustavus only had a dance minor, and so I was able to do dance, study arts administration, do other things, but Beth was so incredibly important to my seeing how dance could be a part of my everyday life, from this studio to the real world. Beth left Gustavus, and the impact that she had on us, that while we were here, when Michelle came in my last year, we protested Michelle's arrival. It was something. It was something. No diss to Michelle, because she took the dance department in a place that it couldn't go, but Beth meant something to us, and it was really hard to see her go. And to this day, Beth still sees herself at 67 as a dance teacher. She is in Oregon, Corvallis, Oregon, and she will die dancing. Oh, to Beth.
Hi, I'm Kate Dudley. I graduated in 2017. And I had the absolute pleasure of being Sue's ballet assistant for over 3 years at my Gustavus time. Not only did she teach me ballet pedagogy throughout that time, but she's continued to be one of my biggest supporters since I graduated. From talking on the phone with me for hours about how to teach my little ones that I had not a clue where to begin, to continually providing me glowing recommendations, so much that I've had studios call me the second they get off the phone with her. Sue brought the joy back to ballet for me. I didn't really have plans to continue with ballet throughout college, and definitely never had plans to be a ballet instructor. But here I am as a ballet teacher who learned from the best how to create fun, engaging, educational, and sometimes silly ballet classes. And most of all, the immense importance of chocolate, as it absolutely makes your feet point better. So thank you to Sue for inspiring everyone that has had the honor of being your student.
All right, my name is Claire Drapeau. I graduated last year with a minor in dance, and I was also a member of the Gustavus Dance Company. I've had the honor of knowing Sue for quite a while now, 19 years to be precise. Sue was my first dance teacher at the age of 3, and I've actually known her all the way through then. When I graduated high school, I decided I just couldn't dance without Sue, so I followed her all the way to Gustavus. Looking back on it now, I'm actually so impressed with your ability and patience to teach across pre-K to college, and sometimes I wonder if it took more patience to teach kindergartners or college seniors. Sue has helped craft me into both the dancer and woman that I am today, and through finding joy and laughter at all times and inspiring me constantly. So, to Sue and all the releves we've held for 5 hours, the memories we've shared, and all the merit we've been through. To Sue.
Hi, I'm Courtney, and I'm a graduate of 2016.
And I'm
And I'm Audie, also a graduate of 2016. Our senior year, we had the opportunity to take a J-term intensive focused on a unique style of dance taught by Jordan and Melissa. The content involved a lot of floor work, weight sharing, and trust in partnering.
Although we came into this class as close friends already, we were challenged to rely and trust each other by literally catching each other in and out of the floor. The physicality of our piece required us to think and move in lots of new ways.
When we graduated and started dancing outside of Kresge, Courtney and I had a deeper vocabulary of movement to pull from because of our experience with Jordan and Melissa.
So, Jordan and Melissa, thank you for teaching me that I can do hard things.
And helping me expand my view of what dance and movement can be.
So a general cheers to the whole dance department for bringing people together, and to Melissa and Jordan for all that they have taught us. To Jordan and Melissa.
Well, I guess I'll just hold this. Hello, my name is Britta Joy Peterson. I'm class of 2008, and I am here to toast the one, the only Cynthia Gutierrez Garner. To know Cindy is to laugh a lot, to eat and drink well, to listen eclectically, to learn through ceaseless curiosity, to dance in the pocket of the groove. Choreographically, Cynthia is a rhythmic mathematician and a dramatic magician. Look at me, I'm shaking, I'm nervous. Her process is a playground for dancers to explore artistic expression and compassionate exactitude. You need to be precise, but precisely yourself. It also means doing sun salutations and a fast 6 count. It also means doing 400 back attitudes to Rachmaninoff's Concerto No. 3. And it means doing every variation of a kickball change that is known on this planet. We did that today. In one of these dances called Iceland, Cindy asked me to build a house of cards, and I was terrible at it. But that was the point. Keep building, even if it falls. Keep on. Start again. This adage is present in Cindy's classroom. She seats physically and intellectually rigorous concepts inside of famously long exercises. And that is because you need to keep on. You have to keep on keeping on. Her epic playlists are a massive help. As a Gussie professor of 3 years, Cindy taught 24 classes and a total of 228 students. She also made 12 works at Gustavus for over 100 dancers. It's a lot of people. She is a maestro of musicality, and she is a painter of vivid images. I think about scraping the dregs of a peanut butter jar every time I isolate my pelvis. Dancing is the embodiment of knowledge, the piecing and weaving, knowing from the living of our lives into our moving bodies. Knowing and dancing and learning and living alongside Cindy is an integral part of the tapestry that is my embodied knowledge. For that, I and many, many others, even today, even the 50 of us today, are deeply, deeply grateful. And so a toast to the queen of choreographic tessellations, to the woman who taught me the importance of a Kalamata olive and a pasta and a Castelvetrano and a martini, to the educator, artist, activist, and dear friend, Cindy.
And finally, to Michelle Racinko. I'm not a public speaker, but I can't say no to Michelle ever, which is how we got here. So, my name is Carolina Satek. I graduated in 2017. 9 years ago this week, I asked Michelle if she would be my dance advisor. Never could I have imagined the expansive grace, gifts, and grit that she would share with me as a student, as well as long after graduation. Michelle's passion for life, learning, and the felt experience has permeated beyond the walls of this department into the whole college and out into this community. Her choreography, classes around body stories, resiliency, and positive psychology, as well as Embracing Ease yoga classes, created and fostered environments for people to come home to themselves. Michelle helped me find my home in my body, mind, and spirit. Not everything is beautiful at the ballet, Michelle once told me as a bun-headed first-year student. This adapted musical quote challenged my sense of self at the time. It was also the invitation I needed to hear to enter a fuller, richer, more integrated, and beautiful life. Michelle, thank you for equipping and encouraging me to find wholeness rooted in authenticity. The wisdom you've shared through your words and actions have not only touched me, but everyone in this whole room.
Ditto. Michelle. First of all, I'm Shauna Solzvig. I graduated in 2000 and following Colleen's rules here to do the toast to the best of my ability. You're welcome. Michelle, I still struggle to write and put things into words, which is probably why I'm off script right now and went to school to be a dance movement therapist, because Michelle suggested that was something that maybe I wanted to consider and loaned me a few books that I kept. So I have incredibly vivid memories of Michelle and with Michelle, and really I'd prefer to be up here moving them and inviting you to join me. However, I'm going to do my best to put these into words. There was a time I had my first class with her, and she said she wondered when this day would come. The day when she met a student who was the child of a high school classmate. Then there was the time that she allowed me to transfer my work-study position to TA for the dance department. Yes. Or the time my parents arrived at Gustavus for my first modern dance concert, and she told them I'd slept with her son. He was an infant and fell asleep on my chest when I was babysitting. There was the time Michelle casually introduced me to my eventual career as a dance movement therapist. And then the many times Michelle has helped me survive my doctorate, this earth life with grace, hope, and deep-rooted wisdom. With resilience, love, and movement, we have made it through so many times, including the tornado, classes in a FEMA trailer, as well as in Lund, flooding when we were stuck on the hill and people didn't know how to find their way back here because we couldn't traverse the roads. And now tonight, it's a time of surrounding and celebrating the authenticity, intention, and home that Michelle, my dear friend, mentor, colleague, you've created. To all that you have shared, taught, and left us with, to all that you have shaped, may this moment, this time, become a memory that you've generously guided to fruition and stay with us all.
Hi, I'm Betsy Maloney Leaf, and I graduated in 1997. Because you like poetry, Michelle, this is inspired by a line from Joy Sullivan's poem, Wood Frog. The line reads, "Here's life. One day you swear off dancing for a lifetime, and the next you call yourself a dancer, wondering how far this career will take you. You're 18 years old, free and ambitious. You find company, your people, and build long days assembled with dancing and dancing and dancing. You learn to think with your feet and move with your brain. You learn that life is not fair, but it is rich. And these lessons, they come from her, your lodestar, she who greets you on the day you want to quit dancing. She who coaxes you to join and then convinces you that moving is magic. She who clarifies that retiré is not passé. That the deep hollow of your inner landscape is vibrant with creativity and can be trusted. She teaches you how to come home. And then one day, 30 years later, you find yourself standing in front of her. You marvel at her golden wisdom, watch as her furious glow refuses to dim, even in the darkest corners of life's labyrinth. Michelle, thank you for teaching me to keep dancing forward. Ooh, I almost made it. To believe that I can shine brighter than the day before. To understand that rough edges and fractured optimism and tender strength are all part of the choreography. You are loved. To Michelle.
Okay. How y'all doing? Everybody good? Because I'm a mess, so that's fun. Woo, thank you, all of you who helped to celebrate these wonderful faculty members for how they have created us and how they continue to influence us. One of the wonderful opportunities that we've been given in this program has been the ability and privilege to study with visiting artists. And this is an opportunity that gave our bodies a chance to try on a different accent in the style of the language of dance. And it was vital to all of our dance education, which is why I'm very excited to tell you about part of Michelle's legacy here at Gustavus, and that is the Michelle Racinko Endowment. Now, some of you may have heard of this, but I want to give you all the information you need right now. This endowment will provide a reliable source of funding for guest artists' commissions and stipends for residencies. A gift to this endowment will also ensure that future Gusties will have the same opportunities as we did to learn from many dancers and instructors from across the country, and have opportunities to perform and develop their technique and gain feedback on their own choreography. So your gift to this endowment will ensure a vital place of dance in the Gustavus community going forward. Gifts are all important and welcome, and there are many ways to give. But I happen to know right now we have a lot of people in the room, and I really feel like we could move the needle on donating to this endowment and making it go. So ideally, I would ask you to give while we're here in this space, and I know that that's not easy. We don't really have an easy way to do that. However, as you're able, if you want to just set a reminder on your phone or something to remind you in future time to donate, remembering how we feel right now, remembering how it feels in this moment to be together and celebrating Michelle and her career and these wonderful, wonderful artists who we've all had the extreme opportunity and privilege to work with. I want to also give, Jen Vickerman is over here somewhere. There she is. Jen Vickerman is your person. This is the person to talk to, because there's lots of different ways to give. You can give a one-time donation. You can give, a repeat donation. There are ways to earmark pieces of estate to go. Jen knows more about it than I do. There's a reason why I don't do finance. Anyway, so just a couple words about the endowment. It needs a cumulative gift of $50,000 in the next 5 years to begin generating funds for dance guest artists. And as I said, Jen Vickerman from Advancement is the person to talk to. So find her and have a chat with her. I think we have some extra instructions right up there on the screen as well. And so as we're drawing closer to the end of this, listen, you said keep it on time, Michelle, and I am I'm a little bit later than I wanted to be, but it's okay, it's okay. As you have a chance to wander around campus, you might notice something. There's a new name on the small studio upstairs in the dance department. I have been told, now it was not a dance studio when I was here, but I am told that many have called it Little Krez, but it is no longer Little Krez. That has changed. It has been dedicated in celebration of Michelle Racinko and her invaluable contribution to the Department of Theater and Dance. The studio is now known as the Michelle Racinko Studio. Yesterday, a small group was able to gather to dedicate and bless that space. And true to form, our leader, Michelle, shared that collaborative spirit that has been a hallmark of who she is here. It's always been a cherished and treasured part of her teaching. Michelle talked about how often in her time here at Gustavus, she's gotten a crazy idea and shared it with people. And those people made it happen. And I bet there's a lot of us in this room that have been part of those crazy ideas. And I think we can all agree that they were not crazy. They were brilliant, they were collaborative, and they were community building. Okay, so we have an activity. We have one last thing to do here together. In the spirit of community building, I'm going to tell you a little story before we send people off to warm up and get ready to perform, and before we leave this sacred space of reunion. As we were preparing for tonight, I wanted to remember how we started the Married Circle. I've been in and I know a lot of us have been in other performance spaces before, and you'll hear people say married to each other, but there was never like a ceremony around it. And so I knew that that was unique to Gustavus, and I knew that was probably unique to Michelle. So in the spirit of community, Michelle didn't want anybody in her company to be left out of the classic wish of good luck. Now, I think I should probably pause here, because I bet there are people in the room that are like, what's married? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to try to give it my best shot. We wish married because when people would bring their horses to the performance, am I right so far? The larger the pile of outside, the longer the standing ovation was. So wishing married was to wish a wonderful performance. So that's what we say to each other. We don't really want to break legs in dance. That's not the best thing. So here at Gustavus, what was that? Or no, well, yeah, no, I didn't want that either, Shauna. I did not want to break my nose either. Again, come to me if you want to hear the story. But this is how the Married Circle was born. Michelle didn't want anybody in her company to be left out of that classic wish of married. So she brought everybody together so that everybody could receive a good wish and give a good wish. And this is so emblematic of Michelle and her view of community. Michelle said yesterday at the dedication of the studio that as excited as she was to see all of her dancers, she was more excited to see us see each other. When Michelle was asked about how she wanted to celebrate her retirement, Michelle said, I just want the dancers to come together and say married once more. So what are we going to do, you guys? We are going to say married once more. Don't move, because I got instructions. So here we are, remembering the spirit of what once was, what has been, and what will be. So those of you who know the difference between passe and retiré, that would be dancers. This is really a dancer-only thing. We love you, dance enthusiasts. We are so happy you are here. This is a dancer thing. We're going to do our best to create a circle in this space together. It's going to be weird, you guys. On-air production. This is going to be weird because we're not going to be able to get all the way around. But we are going to be mindful of germs. We are going to be mindful. And so if you can put your masks on, and dancers, you can start you guys are going to have to self-choreograph because I'm up here, y'all. So somebody be in charge. We're going to make a circle around the room. And I'm going to switch microphones while you guys move. Now, for those of you who don't know how the Married Circle works, I will demonstrate in a COVID-safe fashion with Michelle. It usually goes a kick on the tush, and then a kiss on the cheek, and a wish of married. But because there's so many of us, and this will take forever, and we are not going to do that, our wish of married will be in the form of a hip bump to one side, a hip bump to the other side, and then everybody turn to Michelle. And we are going to just give a kiss to Michelle and say married. And thank you for everything. Here we go. Let's do it before I start really crying. So hips, a little hip bump. And everybody to Michelle, married, and we love you. to Michelle again, and again, and again, and again, and again.
Thank you. I have said this repeatedly. My greatest strength, I hire well. I hire really well. I think about this, and as we started planning this, I mean, Jill Heberlin was my side person for 10 years. A single decision didn't get made without her. And then Maria Gomez Tierney, 10 years, you know, where we see each other daily and we plan and we dream and we make magic happen. And then Melissa, who's been here 15, and Sue Gunnis, 20. I mean, I hire well. I hire really well. And just to Henry and Melissa and all they've done, when I made the decision to retire, and it was true, it's like, what do you want to do? I said, I just want to see all the dancers. I just want to see them one more time and stand in a circle and say Maynard, you know? And this wasn't hiring, but I thought of people who could make this happen. And beyond my wildest dreams, they made it happen. And it's so beautiful and coherent. And again, just, yeah, I'm just so very fortunate. And I tried to say in the note, I have been surrounded by support. And so it filled me up and I could do what I could. But today has been beyond everything I could imagine. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to see the show tonight.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Everybody, you can kind of make your way, you can keep clapping. I mean, it's Michelle. I mean, and you can make your way back to your seats. Thank you, everybody. And Michelle, I hope that you receive this with all the love and all of the wonderful wishes that accompany it. We love you, and we thank you for all the ways that you've championed this program and us, each individually, I know, for all these years. So those of you who are performing, go ahead and do what you need to do in order to get ready to perform. And those of you who are not performing, feel free to eat dessert and eat the desserts of those who are performing. Feel free to continue to mingle, but do know that the show starts at 8 o'clock at the Gardner Lab Theater. And thank you all. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting the dance department. Thank you for supporting our wonderful Michelle and giving her the send-off that she deserves. So thank you.